In 1978, this was the most powerful production motorcycle on Earth, the fastest bike money could buy, a machine that humiliated everything else at the drag strip. And then, within about 5 years, it was gone. This is the Yamaha XS1100. It had the biggest engine of any Japanese bike ever built at the time. It won awards. It broke records. So how did a machine that started at the very top of the motorcycle world vanish so fast? The answer is fascinating. To understand its fall, you have to understand its world. The late 1970s were the age of the superbike wars. Honda, Kawasaki, and Suzuki were locked in a brutal fight for horsepower supremacy, and Yamaha was late to the party. Yamaha's biggest bike had been the XS750, a competent but heavy three-cylinder machine that trailed the competition. Yamaha needed something bigger, bolder, and far more powerful, something to dominate. And in 1978, they delivered. This is the story of the Yamaha XS1100, how it arrived as the undisputed king of the road, why it aged faster than almost any superbike of its era, and how it quietly disappeared just as quickly as it had conquered. The XS11 debuted in September 1977 as a 1978 model, and it made an immediate statement. With its 1,101 cubic centimeter engine, it was the largest displacement motorcycle in production anywhere in the world. Yamaha had gone straight for the crown. At its heart sat a 1,101 cubic centimeters, air-cooled, double overhead cam inline-4, fed by 4 Mikuni carburetors. It produced a claimed 95 horsepower, a colossal figure for 1978. This was raw, muscular, overwhelming power. But Yamaha did something clever. Unlike its chain-driven rivals, the XS1100 used shaft drive. Clean, low maintenance, and durable. It signaled the bike's true ambition, not just to be a superbike, but a superbike that could tour. The specification was cutting edge. Twin front disc brakes and a rear disc, cast aluminum wheels, transistorized ignition. This was, by the standards of 1978, the most technologically advanced motorcycle you could buy. And the performance was staggering. When magazines took it to the drag strip, the big XS laid down speeds never before seen from a superbike. It ran the quarter mile in the low 11s. It was, quite simply, the fastest thing out there. One magazine famously described it as a Rolls-Royce with a blown Chrysler Hemi motor. Another said its acceleration was so brutal, their local drag strip wasn't even long enough to fully extract the engine's power. It was a monster. The real magic was the torque. Enormous, effortless grunt available almost anywhere in the rev range. You didn't need to thrash it. A gentle twist of the throttle at any speed unleashed a tidal wave of forward thrust. The praise poured in. The XS1100 won Cycle World's 10 Best Award as the best touring bike in both 1978 and 1979. It had power, comfort, range, and reliability. On paper, Yamaha had built the perfect big bike. Yamaha marketed it hard. Adverts featured world champion Kenny Roberts sitting on his XS1100 with the slogan, "Sometimes we flew and sometimes we went by plane," suggesting the big Yamaha was a better way to cross Europe than flying. There were special versions too. In the UK, a fully faired XS1100 was developed with a unique split fairing, painted in Martini racing colors to tie in with a racing comeback. Yamaha was pushing the bike hard in every market. So in 1978, the XS1100 sat on top of the motorcycle world, the most powerful, the fastest in a straight line, the most advanced, award-winning. By every measure that mattered, it was the king. But its reign would be shockingly short, because hidden inside all that greatness was a fatal flaw. The single thing that would ultimately doom the XS1100 wasn't its engine, or its features, or its reliability. It was one simple, unavoidable number: its weight. The XS1100 was heavy, very heavy. Wet with a full tank of fuel, it weighed around 600 pounds. With a rider aboard, that number climbed toward 800. Add a passenger, and you were approaching half a ton. Some of that weight came from over-engineering, a massively strong steel frame, that heavy, robust shaft drive. Yamaha built the XS1100 to last, to be bulletproof. But all that strength came at a steep cost in mass, and the weight had consequences. To make it comfortable for touring, Yamaha gave it soft suspension, great for cruising in a straight line, but combined with all that mass, it meant the handling was, to put it kindly, relaxed. In a straight line, the XS1100 was a god, but ask it to change direction quickly, and all 600 pounds made themselves felt. Period road tests were clear. The handling was the bike's weakest point. And that weakness would prove fatal, because the competition was moving fast. Rivals like the Suzuki GS1000 were lighter, sharper, and far more agile. They might not match the Yamaha's brute torque, but through the corners, they left the heavy XS1100 behind. And the crown slipped almost immediately. Later in 1978, Honda's exotic six-cylinder CBX surpassed the XS1100's quarter-mile performance. The Yamaha had been the fastest for barely a year before a rival snatched that title away. This is the crucial shift. The motorcycle world was changing. Riders were beginning to want more than just straight-line power. They wanted bikes that could handle, that could carve through corners. And that was exactly the XS1100's weakness. The trend was moving toward lighter, more focused sport bikes. Machines built to attack a winding road, not just a drag strip. And against these nimble newcomers, the big, soft, heavy Yamaha suddenly felt like a relic from a bygone age. To be fair, the XS1100 held on to some records. It remained the strongest production motorcycle in terms of torque and roll-on acceleration for years. In a Top Gear drag race from speed, almost nothing could touch it. Yamaha tried to keep it fresh. In 1979, following the market trend, they released the XS11 Special, a factory custom version with cruiser styling, a stepped seat, and raised handlebars. A new look for a changing market. In 1981 came the XS1100S, a sportier version with a handlebar fairing and a smaller tank, launched to real acclaim and expectation. But by now, the fundamental problem remained. It was still far too heavy to fight the emerging competition. And the other three Japanese manufacturers were relentless. They were pushing the envelope with advanced technology, lighter frames, better suspension, sharper handling. The XS1100, brilliant as it was, simply couldn't keep pace with the revolution. The bike that had been the most advanced machine in the world in 1978 was, just 3 or 4 years later, starting to look old-fashioned. Its weight was no longer acceptable. Its handling was no longer competitive. Time had caught up fast. Yamaha's response was telling. In 1982, they offered the XJ1100, essentially the same 1,101 cubic centimeter engine in a revised package. It was meant to carry the torch forward, but it revealed just how quickly the whole concept was running out of road. Because the XJ1100 lasted just one single year in the United States before being completely phased out. 1 year. That tells you everything about how rapidly this once dominant platform had fallen out of favor. The end was near. In its final years, the XS1100 was reduced to parts bin specials, like the Maxim, a hybrid of standard and custom components. The signs of a platform being quietly wound down were everywhere. The great king was fading away. And then, in 1984, came the replacement that ended the story completely. The Yamaha FJ1100. And crucially, Yamaha did not simply revise the XS1100. They started with a completely clean sheet of paper. That decision speaks volumes. The FJ1100 fixed everything the XS1100 got wrong. It was lighter, it handled far better, it had modern, sporting bodywork. It went chain drive for lighter weight and sharper response. It was, in every way, a machine for the new era. Its engine was all new too, a 16-valve 4 producing a claimed 125 horsepower, far more than the old XS. The FJ was faster, sharper, and lighter. It made the XS1100 look exactly like what it now was, obsolete. And the FJ went on to become a legend in its own right. It grew into the FJ1200 and lived on well into the 1990s, one of the greatest sport tourers ever built. The XS1100's replacement thrived, while the XS itself was quickly forgotten. So let's answer the question directly. Why did the XS1100 disappear so quickly? Because it was a brilliant answer to the wrong question. It was built to win the horsepower war, just as the horsepower war was ending. The industry pivoted, almost overnight, from raw, straight-line power to lightness, handling, and cornering. And the XS1100, heavy, soft, shaft-driven rich, was the ultimate expression of the very philosophy the market was abandoning. Even its clever features became liabilities. That durable shaft drive added significant weight. That strong frame added mass. Everything that made the XS tough and long-lasting also made it heavy, and heavy was suddenly the enemy. The XS1100 was caught between two worlds. Too heavy to be a true sport bike. A little too sporting and firm in image to be a pure luxury tourer. It fell into the gap between the two, and the market moved on without it. And the pace of change was merciless. The late 70s and early 80s saw some of the fastest technological progress in motorcycle history. A bike could be world-beating one year and outdated the next. The XS1100 was a victim of that speed. But here's the twist. The very thing that doomed the XS1100 also saved it. All that over-engineering, all that strength and weight, made these bikes astonishingly durable. Many are still running today, decades later, refusing to die. That big, low-stressed engine is legendarily tough. It was never highly strung, never pushed to its limits from the factory, which means it lasts and lasts and lasts. The XS1100 may have disappeared from showrooms, but not from the roads. Today, the XS1100 has become a beloved modern classic. Riders love it for exactly what it always was, that huge, effortless torque, that unstressed reliability, and its relative affordability compared to flashier machines of the era. It's found new life among custom builders too. That strong engine and solid frame make a great foundation for bobbers, cafe racers, and cruisers. The bike that vanished from the market has been quietly reborn in workshops everywhere. And on the open highway, its original character still shines. That relaxed, torquey, shaft-driven cruise across long distances is deeply satisfying. For what it was designed to do, cover ground effortlessly, it remains superb. The XS1100 is a time capsule. It represents the very peak and the very end of one particular idea, the big, heavy, powerful, shaft-driven superbike tourer. After it, the industry went a completely different way. It was the last of its kind. So its rapid disappearance isn't really a story of failure. It's a story of timing. The XS1100 was, for a brief and glorious moment, the best in the world. It just happened to be the best at something the world was about to stop wanting. It marked the end of an era, the final, ultimate statement of the more power, more everything philosophy of the 1970s. And as that philosophy died, so too did the magnificent heavyweight machine that had perfected it. When the FJ1100 replaced it, you could see the future arriving in real time. Lighter, sharper, more focused. The XS1100 wasn't beaten by a rival brand. It was beaten by the relentless forward march of motorcycle design itself. We shouldn't judge it too harshly. For its time, the XS1100 was an engineering triumph. Powerful, comfortable, reliable, well-built, and genuinely fast. It did exactly what Yamaha designed it to do, and did it better than anyone. Its short showroom life masks a longer legacy. That engine, that basic architecture, influenced Yamaha's big bikes for years. And the lessons Yamaha learned from its weight and handling directly shaped the far better FJ that followed. Today, there's a dedicated community of XS1100 enthusiasts who cherish these bikes. They understand what it was, not a corner carver, but a magnificent, torque-rich express, built like a tank and honest about exactly what it offered. Time has been kind to its reputation. Freed from the pressure of competing with the latest sport bikes, the XS1100 can finally be appreciated for its own strengths. It no longer has to be the fastest, it just has to be itself. The story of the XS1100 is a lesson in how fast markets can turn. You can build the best possible product, win every award, top every chart, and still be swept aside within a few short years if the world's priorities shift beneath you. It dominated, then it vanished. Not because it was bad, but because it was too perfectly built for a moment that ended almost as soon as it arrived. The XS1100 was the right bike at the right time for a time that didn't last. Its shaft drive, its weight, its soft ride, these weren't mistakes. They were deliberate choices for a touring-focused, all-conquering flagship. The market simply decided, very suddenly, that it wanted something completely different. And in a strange way, the XS1100's flaws pushed the industry forward. Its weight problem helped teach everyone, including Yamaha, that the future belonged to lighter, sharper machines. It was a stepping stone to something better. So the XS1100 wasn't a failure. It was a brilliant, brief chapter, a machine that burned incredibly brightly and briefly before the world moved on. And sometimes those short, spectacular stories are the most fascinating of all. Ride one today and you still feel it. That immense wave of torque, that rock-solid stability at speed, that sense of unstoppable, effortless momentum. On the right road, the XS1100 is still a genuinely impressive machine. It never pretended to be something it wasn't. It was big, heavy, and monstrously powerful, and it made no apology for it. In an age of increasingly specialized machines, there's something deeply honest and appealing about that. The ultimate irony? The bike that disappeared so quickly from showrooms has survived so well on the road. Decades later, these tough, overbuilt machines are still out there, still running, still delivering that unmistakable torque. In fact, many XS1100s have outlasted the lighter, more sophisticated bikes that replaced them. Built like a bank vault, they just keep going. The weight that killed its career became the durability that secured its long survival. Let's remember it at its peak. September 1977. The most powerful production motorcycle in the world. The fastest thing on two wheels. A genuine engineering triumph that made every rival look ordinary. For one shining moment, it was untouchable. Its story proves a hard truth. Being the biggest, the fastest, the most powerful is never enough on its own. What matters is being what the market wants, and markets can change faster than any manufacturer can react. The XS1100 wore its crown for barely a year, and its whole life spanned barely 5. Yet it left a mark far larger than that brief window suggests. It was the machine that took Yamaha to the very top and taught them how to stay there. The Yamaha XS1100 didn't fail. It simply belonged to a moment that passed. A magnificent, heavyweight monster, built to win a war that ended almost the instant it arrived on the battlefield. And that's what makes it unforgettable. The world's most powerful bike. A 5-year life. A 1-year successor. A rapid fall from the top, and a durability that keeps it alive to this day. That is the strange, brilliant story of the Yamaha XS1100. That's the real story. The XS1100 disappeared so quickly, not because it was bad, but because it was the perfect machine for a moment that vanished. It conquered the world, then watched the world change, and it never got the chance to change with it.